This is George. This is my second trip report. It's day three. Yesterday was high anniversary, so I didn't play any craps until late at night after we came back from dinner. Um, Unfortunately, that happened around 12 a.m. Went down to shoot some dice. Got the dice. I think I was second or third after the people that were shooting stick left one. And I actually shot very well. So I was back to even and slightly up. And then, there were quite a few people around which were sort of casual shooters, tourists who are in town for, I don't know, spring break or Labor Day weekend. And hi, Fuzzy. Hi, Paddy. How are you guys? So that didn't go well. It sort of chipped away at whatever profits I made. And the dice went around the table, came back to me. Hi, Brian. Nice to see you. I'm not that good at describing what happened, but uh, just imagine this. The dice went around the table, they came back. And of course, everybody that was on the table before and watched the way I was rolling, and I think I must have been between 15 to 20 rolls on the first go. Hi, Chris, and hi, Mr. Yo. The second time round, what they did was because they were sort of casual shooters, they put down a lot of pass line bets. And as soon as I established the point, um, they went and loaded up their free odds behind their pass line bets. And it's the first time I was not intimidated by it, but I couldn't really see a clear landing zone because we were talking about landing the dice and then having them hit the back wall and having a clear landing after that. I couldn't find that. Anyway, so after a couple of rolls, one of my dice, I was using a V set. I think it was a 4 6 4 2. Did the rotations. Hi, Larry, good to see you. Did the rotations. The right die didn't hit anything and landed on the three, which was on axis. And I see the left die hitting the top part of the free odds on one of the guy's bets, shoots to the left, like it happens all the time at my table. And the drift side pitches the die to a 4. So 4 3 7 on that. So I got really mad because I would say to you 90% of people that play with Craps Nation, the people that came down to sort of play with us, it's sort of second nature to them not to put any pass line beds and to keep the areas very clean for the shooters. Stick right, the stick right wall is always clean, and that kind of put me off. And I said to myself, I'm not gonna sort of stay here and stick around and lose all my money because everybody was doing a couple of shots and sevening out. And I thought that's it. Let's call it because it was very late. I was very tired, so I got probably close to 4 hours of sleep, and I woke up for the morning run, coffee run. Sorry, the coffee run at 5:30, and I found Ted. Justice Jen was here as well. Who else? Sarge showed up, and we had SJ. with his lovely wife Hazel. She showed up. I was very happy to see them. Ted, who else was here? G Dub was here as well. So we sort of and Kevin. I think he was. Hi Blue Jay, very nice to see you. So we looked at the tables. There was one table which was a regular craps table, and the people on it were shooting very well. So that was a good table. That's actually the table of preference to me. And the table next to it was a crapless table, which I really didn't want to get into. So the guys recommended that we just walk across to Paris. And we actually did that. And we had a table to ourselves, basically, which was wonderful. And the Paris tables continue to be very fair surface tables. So I would actually recommend them without any sort of reservations for anyone to go and try them out. We managed to get the table. It was before 7 a.m. And before 7 a.m. they have a rule that the table is a $15 table. And then as soon as it becomes 7 o'clock, they wait until the 7 out and they just bump it up to $25 minimum. And there's no grandfathering. Basically everyone, has to do to go the 25 level. So we managed to get on that table before it turned to 7 a.m. And I forgot to mention somebody else who's very important to this story. If you like this kind of stories, good. I don't know whether I'm boring you guys, but anyway, Super Mario, he showed up as well this morning. He flew in, so that was nice of him. And we were all together basically, and I think Ted, he had a good, solid role. And after Ted, I think it was my turn. And I showed a very good role. It was a 29, and it was sort of verified by Justice Jen. She was tracking the numbers. So I hit the small and a 29 roll. So I'm very happy with the way I'm throwing. I have to admit to you guys, I'm very, very happy that whatever work I put on my table is actually coming together on these tables. I was always sort of anxious when I first sort of came over to be able to say, okay, what I do every day for 2 hours or each time, does it translate to anything? And the answer to that is yes, it does. And I will explain this to you. I'm sorry if I'm boring you, but I will explain to you in what respect it matters. When you're at a real table, I strongly believe that you cannot make any big changes to your mechanics. You have to accept that however you are conditioned to throw, that's the way you should be throwing. Being careful, obviously, about how you grip dice and all those things that you do at home, just to replicate them, even on a different table, different surface, but to be true to those things. And if you're true to those things, then the only thing that you need to have going for you is to do the interpretation of the results, the behavior of your dice. Are they doing what they're supposed to do? And in my case, these tables, both Bellagio and Paris, are very fair in that the dice were just traveling very straight and staying on axis, I would say more than 60%. So I was using V sets most of the time. And that helps me a lot because with V sets, you have the advantage of sort of rhythm rolling to specific numbers if you're patient enough. So I'm very sort of satisfied with what happened there. So I actually did the 29, and then after me, Super Mario picked up the dice, and he was very open to sort of me giving him some dice sets which belong to the same family of dice sets that he was using in exactly the same sort of permutation, a quarter turn of one die. And I did that for him for like 3 or 4 sets. And we did manage to do very well. Indeed, he hit the toe and needed just the four. And we hedged that. We laid the four and we got paid. Okay, he didn't manage to get a four, but that's besides the point. The point is that he must have had a 20 at least. I don't know what sort of results he had, but it was a wonderful executed roll. And you could see that the mechanics were sort of aligned with the table and the results. So these are the things that I would say I'm trying to promote on my channel. I'm not trying to sell anything to anyone, but I'm just trying to tell people to find a way to practice as much as you can. And your practice will make you feel much more comfortable and confident at the table. The rest at the real table is strictly knowing dice sets, and that probably takes a lot longer because a couple of the guys were asking me, but how do you know when I need to change my dice set, or how can you sort of think so quickly what the dice sets, what the dice, how the dice are behaving, and translate that into the next set for me? And that actually takes a bit of practice and repetition of looking at the dice. So yeah, thanks, Mr. Yo. Thank you. Um, so up until, well, let me just give you some figures as well. I made 1,300, but again, I'm playing very conservatively this trip, so I'm up probably around 3K overall, and it's a consistent sort of, how should I put it? It's a consistent progression. I do have my point 0.7 outs. I have to admit, I had one, I think, which cost me about 600, and then I made up for it a little while later. In a very short session, I was almost going to forget about that. I had one session which lasted about 20 minutes. I got on a table with people that received craps lessons at the hotel at 11, and the hotel then gives them the option to, you know, practice what they've learned at the real table. And I got on that table with all the newbies, and I had the opportunity to shoot first. And I made a bit of money, then lost a lot, and then the dice came back to me, and the guy before me actually threw very well, and then I threw well and recovered. So happy about that. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for listening to me. I'll keep you posted about future results. Hopefully, I'll have a session done tonight with the guys. I'm hoping to be able to sort of get together with some of the other guys who are here, and hopefully we can keep it in the positive. Until then, I'm really trying to stay humble and wait until the end to tell you whether I actually lost the war or I won the war. So thank you very much, guys, for watching, and I hope we are triumphant, I guess. All right, Larry. Well, we can talk about that, I guess, in chat. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Red Eye. Laughful Crabs, nice to see you. Thank you, Brian. Thank you all. Have a wonderful rest of your day. This is George. Dicer out.